and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you alongside Richie Giuliano, who has the host cam today. So there you go. Take it away.
I'm spoiled today a little bit.
You got the fancy Running Point logo. Obviously, we're always brought to you proudly by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Rich, how's your Wednesday going? I mean, this is the middle of the week. We're closer and closer to postseason for football, in full swing with postseason for all the other sports. It's the best. It's postseason is always a fun time.
Yeah, postseason for volleyball, which you know very well, and then football coming up, round number one. A lot of exciting matchups. I had the opportunity last night, and I was fortunate enough to represent us and our company with 21, our partner. To talk with Greg McAfee, who was a part of the Vindicator, and then Champ Summers, who's a Valley historian. And then, of course, Dana Vallish was the one that led that show. And, we had a lot of fun breaking down every single bracket from division number 2 all the way down to division number 7. Kind of talked about our picks, maybe some upset specials as well. And, you could catch that on YouTube and, of course, at WFMJ.com.
Your first kind of soiree into the life of with our partners at WFMJ down there. What was that like, just to be in like the studio setting? I know you've been in there before because you've been in the YSU studios and as a student, but what's it like to kind of be back in that atmosphere? Because I'll tell you, as a student, I did a lot of YSU volleyball games, and I went there over the weekend, and I just went into our production booth, and I went into like the scores table. And it was one of those like nostalgic moments. Did you kind of feel nostalgic back in like a legitimate studio lights?
No, you're right, because like what I did at YSU, Penguin Rundown, which was our Youngstown State student TV network. And, it's kind of fun walking up those stairs. And they've got a really nice studio there at 21 with, the big lights that shine down on you, cool back screen with a bunch of props and helmets. So it was nostalgic going back there. It felt nice, but, this is as nice as the studio as anything here. I love it here.
This is awesome. This is kind of like, I feel pressure when I'm in those kind of studio settings because it's like the lights are on you.
You feel hotter.
And you're like, oh, here, this is YSN. This is like, we're laid back. We're a family atmosphere. We can show up in a hoodie. This is the perfect place to be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was always stressed out in those YSU studios.
See, I never really felt stressed out
Especially
because
in directing class with Fred
Oh,
Owens.
well, that's a different animal. That's a different animal there. But I felt comfortable last night. I think being under the lights, at YSU,
you're ready.
I felt comfortable. Yeah.
You're
So it was just about preparation for me. And DJ and I talked about this on our Power Hour on Monday. We've been doing this all season long. It wasn't like something that I jumped into the scene for the first time.
Right.
We've been talking about, the local teams and some of the best prospects in this area from week number 1 all the way up to week number 10. So it was just combining all the work we've done from the first week to the final week into one big show, which was an hour long last night. And, it was a pleasure to be able to speak with those guys and kind of share each other's opinions. Because, of course, we all had different picks of teams that we thought were going to go to a regional and hopefully a state. And it was a lot of fun.
I don't want to break our streak of state representatives every season. So hopefully we get one this year, whether it be soccer, volleyball, or soccer. We've had soccer, volleyball, or football. We've had, I think, let's see, because last year We had people. So yeah, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, I think like 6 straight seasons at YSN where we've had somebody in represented at state.
Yep. JFK has been the leader for that. 2020, they made it to the state championship. Unfortunately, lost to New Bremen, who's a great football school in that MAC conference over there in the western part of Ohio. And then last year made it to the state semifinal as well against that Newark team. So, I think they're ready to go back for a third time. I like their odds in Division 7 since week number 5 after they beat that Division 4 Perkins team. They kind of took control of that region. And this is another good JFK football team. I like their odds to get to state. I like South Range's odds to get to state. We talked about it. If Mooney gets to the regional semifinal, I think that could be a good test. But the only other one is Garaway, which they beat last year as well. So I do like South Range's odds of getting to the state semifinal.
Yeah, and I tell you, one thing I'm looking at is that possible matchup in the second round for JFK against Springfield.
Yes, I think that's a tougher matchup than a lot of people think.
Because with programs that know how to win and have won, I feel like there's just a different switch that gets turned on when playoff time comes around, no matter what the regular season looked like. We've seen that with some other programs in other sports where maybe they didn't have the best regular season record, like to their standard, but they get in the tournament and it's like there's this mindset for tournament play. And I think champion softball was always a great example of that. Last 2 years, been a little bit down, still made it to the district championship. So that's always dangerous when you're going up against a program that just knows how to win in the playoffs.
And I think we know very well that Springfield had a tough start, 0-4 to start the season. New quarterback, of course, with Colton Rourke, who took over. They lost their running back, their strong safety, their kicker in week 3 in Kason Kosek, who went down with a season-ending injury. So that was unfortunate for the Tigers. But this is a revitalized team here in the second half of the season. They've rattled off 6 consecutive victories. You look at who they played in the early going. South Range, of course, a dominant team in Division number 5. Brookfield, who's 9-1 in Division number 6. And then Lowville, who's in their own region in Division number 7. So
don't forget that matchup with Geneva too, in week 3. Very good Geneva team that is going way out of their division. Geneva's 4?
They're 4, yeah.
Division 4. So that's 3 divisions up you're going. Yep. And I think Coach Guerrero said it before the season, like we could be 0-3 after the first 3 weeks, but it's not going to define kind of who we are as a football team.
And it hasn't, because for them to start 0-4 and then get a home playoff game in the first week of the playoffs is remarkable. And, give credit to what, Sean Guerrero has done over there with that program. I think Colton Rourke is a guy that has really matured as the season has gone on. Shondell Gardner, who's an athlete on the outside, we see him on the basketball court take over with his athleticism. And then Dylan Sheely is the other playmaker as the wide receiver who has the most receptions on the team this year. So, as Springfield gets better, I think they're going to be harder to beat. When you look at their round 1 matchup with Matthews, a team that's 8-2, Matthews, though, has not played the type of schedule that Springfield has this season. Their losses are to Pie Valley in week 10. So they're actually coming off of a loss. And then they lost to Edison 48-10. So I do like Springfield's odds of getting that round 2 matchup with Warren JFK.
That Edison loss, for win for Edison, was the one where Edison opened my eyes for that one, because Matthews came into that game. I think their last 2 games before that, they scored like 135 combined points. Their offense was on a tear, and Edison just shut them down.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, but back to Springfield real quick, because people might be surprised that they started out so rough and then they kind of developed into this team they are now. But you look at last year, they started off with loss to South Range, and then they almost lost to Brookfield.
Yeah.
They were kind of wavering at the start of last year, and it took them a minute to kind of figure things out. Last year, they had to figure out this offensive line. Like, their offensive line needed to work as a unit. That took them about 3 weeks. This year was more position players, finding their way, skill position players, finding ways to get in the open field, finding confidence in themselves. It took a little bit longer, but you saw after 4 weeks, here comes Springfield. Yeah. They get that win over Middle Ridge, and it was a downhill rock since then. So I think Coach Guerrero has proven, especially in the last 2 years, he is really good at quick player development throughout a season, like seeing what's on film. We have to correct this and getting it corrected in a timely manner.
Yes, no, you're exactly right. I think that's something that he has done a fantastic job of throughout his tenure at Springfield. And of course, when you have Bo Brungard and one of the most talented players, everybody looks at that and says, oh, of course you're in the state championship because you got one of the best players. There's also other impact guys around that have really developed well throughout their Springfield careers that make that team possible. You're not a good quarterback without a good offensive line.
Right.
And that's something that they did a great job of working with in the offseason. And you got to give credit to his assistant coaches as well, who are also there every single day and, improving their overall staff.
That's why I wasn't as worried as everybody else was when they lost the players they lost last year. Because I was like, they're bringing back a lot of offensive linemen that they don't have to reteach that position to. Because that's the one thing they struggled with last year when they did struggle was their offensive line play. Like they're going to have their offensive line back, and that's kind of the first key, the first step to success. Now, like I said, it took them about 4 weeks to kind of get confidence with the skills position players, but now they kind of look like the Springfield we're used to.
Oh, for sure. And they changed their player personnel on both sides of the football, both offensively and defensively. Of course, we talked about their injuries. They've lost some key defensive guys in the early part of the season that they're actually getting back potentially here in the playoffs. I know, DJ was talking about it with Sean Guerrero when they spoke over the weekend at the Saxon Club on Sunday. And they're losing a lot of guys in the early part of the season that they're potentially going to get back towards the end of the year. So it was a lot of, patching holes after the first 3 weeks of the season. And, these guys who are young players have bursted onto the scene at a high level over there at Springfield.
How about also the patience of the coaching staff at Springfield to not hit the panic button after 3 weeks? When I talked to Coach Alicia Hour after those 2 losses to Fitch and Girard back to back, where there was supposed to be like high hyped up matchup. They were supposed to come in and compete, and really Girard and Fitch just kind of took care of them in those 2 games. She said they didn't have a practice between those 2, and the first practice back, she thought it was very important to not get right to it, to not make it feel like we had so many problems, we have to get right to fixing it. She gave that team one practice where they were just kind of laxed a little bit. They had some fun, did some fun mental work stuff, and then they got to it on Wednesday. And that was so important because if the coaching staff hits the panic button, then the players are going to hit the panic button.
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing with Springfield. You lose the first 3 weeks. I'm guaranteeing maybe the first Monday after that Geneva game, or even the first Monday after the Lowville game, when they were 0-4, it wasn't panic mode in that first practice. Yes, they had stuff to fix, but I'm sure Coach Guerrero had one practice where he was like, let's just take a step back, relax for a minute. We know we're good. Let's fix what we have to fix and take care of it.
I think overall, just focus on yourself, right, at that point, because you could watch as much film as you want on the last 4 games, but if you're not focusing on yourself, you're not going to get any better. And I think that's where Springfield improved. And I think you hit it on the head there. You can't panic. This is a good football team. With the 16 teams making the playoffs now, there's really no concern for Springfield not to make the playoffs.
Especially
if
in
this
Division
was
7.
If this was an 8-team field like it was in the past, might hit the panic button a little bit when you're 0-4 because you're going to have to win out to even get a chance. Like this year, they would have been the 8 seed playing the 1 seed if this was 4 years ago in the playoff format. But now that it's 16 teams, you have the opportunity to put together a schedule that Springfield did, playing above divisions in 3 out of their 4 non-conference games.
Then we'll obviously have to have the discussion, is that good or is that bad? Should teams be hitting the panic button after an 0-4 start? Should they have to be worried about making the playoffs after an 0-4 start? Yeah. I feel like you should a little bit. Yeah. You should have that worry.
I think it depends on who you're playing the first 4 weeks. If you're playing non-conference teams that you think you should beat and you're losing, then you might hit the panic button a little bit and say, we're not going to win out in the conference. We might be in a tough spot to make that 16 seed. But if you're playing a schedule like Springfield did, South Range, let's be honest, I don't think they knew that they were going to win that football game in week 1. Brookfield, a talented team that's 9-1. Geneva is probably one of those that they circled and said we probably could have taken care of business there because Geneva is a good Division 4 team, but they're not overpowering. And then Lowville,
that would have been one. That would have been one where you hit the panic button because you look at Springfield and it's like we have handled Lowville in the last 3 years.
Yes.
I mean, you can't say that the players we lost were 45 points better. Like that, I think that was the one where they go, because they competed with Lowville. It was a close game until the end. But you look at 42-24, and I think that's where maybe the fan base was like, can we win these games in the league? Because we can't and these league games were a lot tougher than they were for Springfield in years past, and they still got the winner from Middle Ridge, and they went and they won. They didn't win the conference, but they went and won the rest of their MVAC slate. I think that was impressive too because last year the MVAC was kind of a cakewalk for Springfield. They had to face some adversity in the conference this season. That might help them in the early rounds of these playoff games when they're the quote unquote underdogs.
Yeah, they pulled out a very close victory to Mineral Ridge, which was Mineral Ridge's first loss of the season.
Last second touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
second
12-12, and they scored a touchdown with like a minute left.
And let's be honest, that's a team that Springfield is kind of rolled the last couple of years when Bo Brungard has been there throughout his 4-year tenure at Springfield. So they had a lot of close conference games, like you talked about, 2012 over Mineral Ridge, beating Western Reserve 21-0 was probably closer until they scored that last touchdown within the last 3 minutes. So it's definitely a different season for Springfield. They played a lot more competitive games than they have in the past, but I think that's only going to help them because you're going to have to play a very, very tough team in round 2 if you get past Matthews and JFK.
It's time. Last year we were talking about not just the football success. We had a soccer team that was making a run, and that was the Crestview boys. They went all the way to the state championship. They were only fall sports representative that went to a state championship game last year, and they lost in that state championship game. But this year, unfortunately for Crestview, they will not repeat as state contenders. They lost a tight one to Wycliffe last night, 2-1 in the boys soccer action. So that's always tough to come back. They lost a lot of great seniors this year. We talked to Nick Novak earlier in the season, and he kind of pointed out that like they had to be a different team. They had to kind of figure out what they were strong at and run with it. They still had a great season, won the MVAC for their 5th consecutive year. But they just they couldn't muster enough to get out of this really tough district in soccer.
Wycliffe's a solid soccer club. They're 15-4 this season. So, that was going to be a tough out, but now they're going to play Badger.
Yep.
In that next playoff round. That's the district championship, right?
Yep, and Badger is the 3-0 winners over Champion.
Yep.
That was kind of a surprise because Champion has been such a good soccer program the last 2 years on the boys and girls side. Badger took care of them 3-0.
Yeah, they did 3-0 the final there, and then Wycliffe and Badger is going to be a fantastic matchup, which is going to be played Saturday at 11 a.m. I'm not sure the neutral destination yet for that.
I think, and then we're talking about soccer. I think Mooney kind of proved to everyone that this is legit. I mean, their schedule was way above Division III.
Yes,
they're playing teams like Western Reserve Academy, CVCA, et cetera, et cetera. Mooney beat Maplewood 9-0 in a district semifinal.
Wow,
9-0.
That's crazy for a district semifinal. Of course, they're led by a couple of guys. Herb's one of them, a sophomore. Pregabon's got 10 goals. He's a junior this year. Janice, who's their other guy, a junior, that's got 7 goals. So they scored a high level. Scored 58 goals this season, and 7 of them in the district semifinal.
9 of them, 9-0 in the semifinal over Maplewood. Or am I looking at the wrong score? I have 9-0 over Maplewood. Was it 7?
Let me look again. Yeah, 9.
Okay. Just making sure we cross our T's and dot our I's. But I think Mooney might be one of those teams. Like last year, they lost to Crestview in overtime, and then Crestview went all the way to the state. So I feel like they felt like last year they were a state contender team. They brought back most of those players. So I think Mooney is a team that's sitting there like they have aspirations of not just winning a district or winning a region. They have state championship aspirations in Mooney right now for the boys soccer. And
they had some payback earlier in the season. If you remember all the way back in August, they beat Crestview 4-0 at home, in match number 2 of the year. So they knew they were going to be a special bunch then. And then beating Howland 1-0 at home, who won the AAC title this year over Canfield. And then they tied Canfield later in the year, beat Fitch, beat Vorman, beat Ursuline. So they really played a tough schedule, like you said. And they controlled that schedule. And I think they knew that this was going to be their year, especially after week 2, beating that Crestview team that got them.
Yeah, I think that score from last year's Crestview game was probably posted in the locker room all offseason. They were ready for that one with revenge on the mind. One more score from that division. Warren JFK gets the 3-0 win over Tusky Valley to punch their ticket to the district championship game. They've scored. You talk about Mooney scoring a lot. JFK has scored at a really high rate this year. I think 74 goals going into last night before they started, if I'm not mistaken. I talked to Giorgio Famia over the weekend, and I had their goals numbers up then. I think it was 74. Maybe it was in the 70s.
Wow.
But that's it's a ton of
75.
Goals.
75.
75 going into last night. Tusky Valley, they scored 3-0. JFK, you look at this team 2 years ago, they really weren't that great. They were a struggling team. George Efimio was very candid about it. He said they were losing. He was in a down spot. He thought about quitting. But last year, as a junior in his junior season, big turnaround for the program. And then even this year, they have just hit the gas pedal, found a lot of athleticism.
Yeah.
And you talk about program turnaround, they're playing for a district championship.
Well, I think it all starts with that underclassman that came into JFK the last 2 years.
Right.
Nick Ryan's just a sophomore. He's got 31 goals so far this season.
That's more than some teams have total.
Yeah. Michael Condolian's a junior. He's got 18 goals. And when you look at this roster, just 2 seniors. So this is going to be a JFK soccer club that's going to dominate this area for a long time for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they have a great coaching staff as well that's now been solidified. Been with them for a couple of years now. I know there was a carousel there for for a couple of years ago. Now they have a coach that has stuck around for 3 years now. So that's always good when you have a coach that is consistently in a program. That's always one of the key factors to building it.
Oh yeah, I mean when you got a consistent coach like that, I mean of course we see around the valley on the football side some of those coaches that have been there forever, and it's just that winning culture. Right. Even though they're all underclassmen this year. Once they come on to the scene, they are an immediate impact. And I think Nick Ryan is an example of that, leading the team in goals as a sophomore. I think, when you approach the JFK program, you got to be at the best level to compete and get onto the field as the starting 11. And, with a young class that they have, they still have that winning culture, 14-3-1 this season.
We go into the bigger divisions of soccer as CVCA. We know how good they are. They beat Orange 5-1 last night to advance in the soccer tournament. Painesville Harvey, a big one against Hubbard. Hubbard was a really good soccer team. They fought till the end with Poland in that NE8 standings.
Yes.
We thought they were going to make a run, but Painesville Harvey, a tough soccer team in their own right, they came in won. The final score there was 2-0.
Yeah, I talked to a couple of the assistant coaches actually for Hubbard. I know them through Anthony Romo, and they were Hubbard graduates as well, and they knew that Harvey was going to be a very tough team. They're athletic. They were 16-1 coming into it, so they beat Kenston, who's one of the top teams in that division. They beat Chardon, who's a top team in that division as well, and they knew that Kenston win was going to be a lot of trouble for them, and Harvey kind of showed that last night. They're just athletic. They're very quick. They're fast. They play physical. And I think that was the difference last night.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the downside of tournament time. We have to say goodbye to teams that had great seasons. Hubbard, one of those teams that we have to bid adieu, but we congratulate the Eagles on a really great soccer season. I think everyone thought Poland might run away in that NE8 with the down year South Range had a little bit in the boys soccer realm. But Hubbard said, no, we're not going to let Poland run away with it. And Poland had to beat Hubbard in Hubbard to secure the NE8 championship. So battle at 224, and everyone was kind of counting Poland out in this game. They said on their Twitter they felt like the underdogs coming in. They had a fire in their belly, and they proved themselves a little bit. 4-0. They take care of Canfield on the road, I believe. No, this game was in Poland, wasn't it?
This game was in Poland.
It was in Poland, so they were the higher seed. So for some reason they felt like the underdogs, but they definitely proved themselves that they were the top dog in the class.
Yeah, I think Canfield struggled to break down Poland's defense last night. The first goal allowed the Bulldogs kind of, sit back more and more. And then that allows for the offense to open up a little bit. Of course, Huda was the guy that netted that fourth and final goal to kind of put things away. And, Poland had some really good opportunities throughout the night. And I think Canfield just struggled to break that good defensive line that they have.
And here's the thing: when you're trying so hard to break the defense, sometimes your defense suffers that too. We saw this game was 1-0 at halftime, and then the dams kind of just broke in the second half because I think Canfield was spending so much energy, mental and emotional and physical, trying to break through that Poland defense. They just couldn't. And eventually those storm gates just wavered a little bit, and Poland was able to find more and more holes in the second half.
Yeah, and then, of course, your offense is pressing to score when you're down 2-0, like you said, outside of the half. And then once you're pressing, you bring more guys in, and that allows for Poland to go over the top down the sidelines, and then they have numbers offensively. And that's how you score goals in soccer. And I think Poland takes advantage of those opportunities that they have. That's a very good soccer team, of course, led by Noah Huda, who's been the star there all season long. Mauer's another player that's really good for Poland. And that's a good team that I think has a chance to beat Harvey in that district championship. We could see them, getting past the district.
We talked to Noah Huda early in the season, and he was just so fired up. He wants to win a district so bad. He's got a chance. He's one game away. So are the Bulldogs. One game away. They go into the district championship. Stop me if you've heard this before, Richie. Howland wins a tournament game in boys soccer. The Tigers are alive and well, and their tradition stays strong. 3-0, they beat NDCL, and they advance into a district championship.
Yeah, nothing new there. I mean, Howland historically has been one of the best programs that we've had in this area for a long time, especially the last 2 or 3 years. And I think the Tigers got a really good shot to win their district again. That's just a program that breeds soccer district finals.
I remember 2 years ago when they were at probably, you could argue, their peak of the soccer. There wasn't even a discussion when they were in districts. It was just like, hey, we're just looking at when they play Bay Village Bay.
Yeah, Bay Village. My friend graduated from Bay Village, and that's all he talked about was their soccer program. And that's been a little non-conference rivalry up there on the shores of Lake Erie between Bay Village and Howland.
Because that particular year I was talking about, they were matched up in the regional semifinals, and everyone kind of thought it was the de facto state championship.
And Bay Village, they're back in their district championship again. And they're going to play an Orville team that they're probably going to beat. So, you have a chance, of course, to see Bay Village back in the regional. Yeah,
and unfortunately, one more team we have to say goodbye to after a great season. Ursuline loses to Kinston last night, 5-0 after a dramatic, tournament run for Ursuline. They fall to Kinston in the semifinals.
Yeah, Kinston's one of those teams that on both their girls and boys soccer programs, they produce good teams. And that's a team that beat Canfield to open up the season 3-0. I was able to see that game. They're very good. And I wasn't really surprised to see the final last night because, the last couple games, they beat Hoban 6-0. They beat Streetsboro 2-0, and then they take care of business against Ursuline. So this is probably going to be one of the best matchups of the year, Kinston against Howland in the district championship.
Yep, that's going to be fun. And then people don't talk about, soccer is really good in our Northeast Ohio region. I mean, you look at some of the teams that just fall in our region with Kinston, Howland, of course. NDCL is a great soccer team. You got CVCA, which isn't too far away. Bay Village Bay always shows up in our region.
Yeah,
soccer in our region, especially in Division II and Division I, ridiculously good.
It's very good. It is very good. I know. When I was in school at Canfield, our girls soccer team was able to get all the way to the regional final. And, unfortunately they lost, but, just historically we've had really good soccer programs that have come throughout the Valley. And you mentioned it. I mean, Bay Village has kind of been the Achilles heel for this area for a long time. And, they're very good on the west side of Cleveland up there. And it's fun to see because you've got so many teams that match up for the district finals. I mean, district semifinal, you got a battle of 224. That's just uncommon.
It's been Bay Village, and then the smaller divisions, it's been Gilmore Academy.
Yeah, Gilmore Academy. They're good at all the
Olympic sports. Yep.
Yeah.
Their football program is still a good team.
They're 9-1 this year.
That's that field without lights. They have they can't do playoff games up there. I think there was one year where Gilmore actually earned the right to host, but couldn't host because they don't have lights in their stadium.
Well, they're going to host. They're going to have to host this year. They're going to have to find somewhere to host because they're a 9-1 football team.
Right.
This year.
So they might not be playing. I don't know who that opponent is for Gilmore.
They're going to play Geneva.
That might not be a game that is literally at Gilmore Academy. It might be their neutral site game where they're the home team, where they find someone as close as possible to play that. But I remember in years past they have not played because every playoff game is Friday, right?
Yep, every playoff.
So you can't play there Friday night. You can't play there Friday night. There's no lights at the field.
No, you're right. So they're going to have to, find a place, maybe
or play it Saturday morning, or play in Orange. That's not too far away.
Orange is a good destination.
And we've been very spoiled to have that on our YSN cameras all year. It's a beautiful facility down there for a football game.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, and I heard they got a nice hockey rink as well. So they have a lot to offer.
Yeah, I love it. Up here, none of our schools have a hockey rink ever.
No,
but up in Cleveland,
They all have them.
It's hockey.
Gilmore Academy has 2 hockey rinks.
Right. I've told this story before, but I was, Gilmore Academy. It was in the district championship in softball last year. And I did the game, and I was, talking to their coach before, and I said, hey, you have any players that, are probably going to college or going to play in college? Well, no, but I have like 3 girls that are signed on to play college and hockey in college. And I was just, you don't expect to hear that because hockey here in this, like in Northeast Ohio in this area is just like, name one hockey player that's going to college playing hockey in Youngstown. You don't see it.
We barely have any hockey team.
The fact that they had 3 players that were already signed to play college hockey on the softball team, I was like, okay. And then you see them come to bat, and you know why. They got some power. Okay. So it was that was always fun. Volleyball action last night too, Rich. It was Division 1 and 4 in their district semifinals. District semifinals. In Division 1, we only had one team still alive, and it was Fitch. They get the win over Hudson 3-1. 3-1. They advance into the district championship. Now, because a lot of people kind of avoided the 1 and 2 seeds in Division 1, Fitch lined up with the 3 seed. This is going to be a 3 versus 4 district championship game with Glen Oak and Fitch.
Yeah, this should be a good game. Austintown Fitch is a team that we've seen a multitude of times this season. They've played a tough schedule, finished 20-5 so far. This is a really good team. Of course, they've got one of the best outside hitters in Division 1, Jocelyn Jordan, who set a milestone of records this year. And we talked about their underclassmen too. Simons, who's done a fantastic job, 808 assists this season. So she has stepped into that role and really has expected Austintown Fitch to be a good team in Division 1.
Riley Simons, the YSN freshman of the year this year, for that immediate impact that she's made as a setter at Fitch, broken multiple program records just as a freshman. That was too impressive to avoid. You look at Jocelyn Jordan's numbers last night, Rich, 35 kills, 17 digs.
Double.
That's a double-double, emphatic double-double.
Almost. What was their any blocks?
Blocks weren't reported for her. It was just they said 17 digs, 35 kills.
We could have had a triple-double there.
I know it. She's something else, man. Once they made her a full rotation player last year instead of a middle blocker like she was the sophomore year, she just came out of this shell. I think she's a Division 1 volleyball player. Without a doubt.
I've seen her in person, and she's one of the best hitters that I've seen.
Right.
Of course, Gerard has a pair on the outside that are really good, but, I don't know. It's a tough comparison between them and Jocelyn Jordan because, she just brings that, immediate impact onto the floor. When she goes off, it's like, they still have some good players, but when she comes on, it's all eyes on her. If they try and double block, they try and play down the line, they try and play cross court, just too strong of a hitter. She's very good.
She can adjust. She uses the block to her advantage. Very smart volleyball player in Jocelyn Jordan. So she had 35 kills, 17 digs. Afton Roby was really a presence at the net. 4 blocks for her, 5 kills. Kylie Folkwine, who is also an impressive freshman for that Fitch team, she had double-digit kills with 13. Izzy Dorenzo had 15 digs in the back row. Riley Simons had 12 service points, 2 aces, 15 digs, and this is a big number, 51 assists for Riley Simons.
Wow.
That's the second most we've seen this year at YSN. I remember Riley Malott, another Riley from Southern, put up 60+ once.
That's right, when they played Columbiana.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, because that was that 5-set thriller.
Right. And so that was actually when Malott did that. That was tied for 10th most ever in the state.
Wow.
With 60, I think it was 68 assists in one game. So she was in almost record-breaking kind of company.
What is 10th. The state record?
It was in the 70s.
That had to have been 5 sets.
I looked at it, and that was back. I think it was back. It was in the early 2000s. I don't know when rally scoring started in high school volleyball,
right?
But it might have been but you think the assists would actually go down in side-out scoring because you have to have the serve to get the point.
The point, yeah.
So it was probably still towards that turn where we went to rally scoring, but no one had that many as much as Riley Malott had since 2014. So like she had the most that anyone's ever had for the last 8 years.
That's incredible. I remember watching that match, and Siggy, of course,
So, yeah,
was on
the
the call because he always
texted us like, "This will never end."
he always goes 3.5 hours in volleyball matches, and I was just laughing watching that. But it was such a good match, and of course, they were celebrating a good cause there in Columbiana. So it was a fun match to watch. But for Simons to put up that number in a playoff atmosphere as a freshman just kind of shows you where this program is going to lead to in the next couple of years.
I mean, you go into a district championship game, your best hitter is feeling it with 35 kills, 17 digs. Your setter is definitely in a rhythm with 51 assists. You have some help with Afton Roby and Kylie Folkwine. Things are looking good for Fitch, who got to the district championship last year. Then now this year they want to kind of win the district championship.
And it's hard in Division I, right? Those are some of the best teams that you have in the state of Ohio. For them to be in the district championship really says a lot about this program. I kind of knew that this was their year when they took down some of the best teams around our area, especially with their win over Crestview. Even though, that's a low division team, it's one of the best in the state. So when they took them down, I'm like, they got a good chance, to compete in this district.
There is a good preview of Glen Oak in the Division I volleyball preview that we put out a couple of weeks ago. Now it's been so long and I've written so much stuff. The name kind of goes right out my head, but I know Glen Oak has a commit for Robert Morris in the Horizon League.
Oh,
so they have someone that's on the same level as Jocelyn Jordan that they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, I'm going to try and find that player right now. But Robert Morris, we've seen them a time or two. They like to recruit internationally a lot.
They do, and I was surprised because when they came into the Horizon League, I thought they're going to take stuff from YSU. They're right down the road. They're probably going to steal some recruits from this area. Not too many from our Youngstown metro area have decided to go to Robert Morris over YSU.
Well, I'm going to guess that the commit here is Natalie Stepanich.
That sounds very familiar. I'm thinking so.
She's got 250 kills this season.
Right.
And, she's been really good. Her sister's actually on the same team, but she's a sophomore, and she's got 107 kills. So the Stepanich sisters are controlling that team up there.
You got to keep you take the next step. If they were the YSN family team and we had an interview, that would be the headline. But unfortunately, they're not. So I just came up with a headline for no reason. But once again, Austintown Fitch versus Glen Oak. That game will be Thursday in Mentor at 7:00 for the district championship. Mentor. That's a pretty good trek for Austintown.
Pretty nice gym as well.
And Division I gets all the toys. We go into the rest of the scores. Beaver Local unfortunately fell to Riverview to end their season 3-0 in the district semifinal. We congratulate Beaver Local on a great season. I think they finished 16-8 on the year, which is probably better than a lot of people thought with all the seniors they lost from last year. But Sarah Lowe does an amazing job with that program, and she got them to double up their wins, double up their losses with wins.
And they got a lot of players coming back next year. So got that playoff experience. Roberts is a junior who had 251 kills. She's going to come back. They do lose Wolski, a senior outside hitter who had 212 kills. But, outside of that, they have a lot of returning players that made some immediate impacts in the 2022 campaign. So, they do lose 2 starting seniors for Beaver Local, but they also have some players that are coming back.
That can be a benefit to, everyone talks about this year, like, oh, we lost so many seniors. But the year after that, you get some unexpected growth that you can build a future with, because there are a lot of players, sophomores, freshmen, that probably got a lot of court time this year that's going to pay dividends in the years to come. So, you take a little bit of lumps this year, and Beaver Local still put up a really impressive record with 16-8. But they probably had some games here where they felt like they should have won. Maybe inexperience got in their way. Next year is going to be the one where you really watch Beaver Local and say they're just as good as their program expects them to be.
And you look at next year, hopefully they match up with an East Liverpool team. And some of the teams they play non-conference again, like Dover. You're going to play probably a Steubenville again and an Edison. So you're right. I think they took some bumps and bruises, especially in the early half of the season. Their first 6 games, they started 3-3, where they kind of went through that lull, losing to Oakland, Claymont, on East Liverpool 3 in a row. So they did take their bumps and bruises early on, but a young team that kind of learned from the mistakes and was able to grow throughout the season. pretty good record, 16-8 overall, and you get to the playoffs.
Speaking of East Liverpool, they advance. They get the 3-0 win over John Glenn. This is the furthest that the East Liverpool volleyball program has gone.
Wow.
So they are just having a historic season for the Potters. I believe, if my memory serves, there's a lot of teams. I believe there's 2 losses on the year this year for East Liverpool. Just that one loss to Carrollton and a loss to Crestview are the only blemishes they have, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. And beating John Glenn, big win. They beat that 5-0 team that we were talking about that we looked up because we didn't know where they were. Beat them 3-0.
I remember that.
Now you got to pronounce this team name that they're playing here Saturday. Coshocton?
Yeah,
Is that how you say that?
That's how it phonetically goes.
Coshocton. Which that's a beatable opponent. They're 18-6 this year. They haven't had the best regular season slate. They are heating up as of late. Coshocton, before the playoffs, rattled off 12 consecutive set victories to end the regular season. And then they just beat New Philadelphia 3-2 in 5 sets. So I think this is a winnable match for East Liverpool.
Yeah, if you can get over the momentum that program is getting into the tournament, obviously they're getting some wins that maybe some people don't think they are. Those Cinderella teams, I don't want to call them a Cinderella because they're not like a double-digit seed or anything like that. But those kind of teams that are underdog, winning as underdogs can be dangerous.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
We go into Division 4. Those 2 teams, by the way, if you're looking for them, they aren't with our teams. They're in Division 2 with the East 1, East 2 brackets, I believe. East Liverpool in East 1, which is the district championship. So we go into Division 4. Southern Local and Western Reserve matchup. We knew this was going to be a really good volleyball match with these 2 teams. Western Reserve, though, they won 3-1, and they advanced to their second straight district championship game.
Yeah, they're solid this year. They're going to play McDonald.
Yep.
In that district championship.
They're on the opposite sides. They're going to play. Western Reserve will play.
Wellsville plays McDonald.
Yeah, Western Reserve will play. Oh, geez.
Western Reserve is playing Kent Central Catholic.
There it is.
Okay.
It was like I just wrote the story last night.
And Kent Central Catholic has won 9 consecutive sets here in this district tournament. They have not lost a set. Western Reserve beating Southern 3-1, which is a solid win. They beat Wyndham in straight sets 3-0. So this is going to be a fun matchup between Kent Central Catholic and Western Reserve.
Set scores last night were 25-12. Then Southern got the win 25-20. And then Reserve won the last 2, 25-15, 25-22. Some numbers from last night. Olivia Hughes showed up big. 22 kills, 18 digs, 3 aces for her. We expect that out of a name like Olivia Hughes. Lisa Eichert helped her out, 18 kills, 16 digs. Both of them had a double-double. They both had 3 aces. Angelina Campabianca had 5 blocks, 3 aces. And then Allison Jones there, libero, 35 digs as well. Raylan Meyer led the team with 22 assists. They run that 6-2 with Raylan Meyer and Madison Leone.
And look at the digs that they had. Combined, Jones and Eichert had 16 and 35. So had a nice defensive match there, especially in set 1. They only allowed 12 points.
You had Hughes is 18.
And 18 more with Hughes. I didn't even see that. So she had a double-double on the night with 22 and 18. So did Eichert with 18 kills and 16 digs. So 2 players with double-doubles in the district semifinal. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, and like I said, kind of like with Jocelyn Jordan, they're emphatic double-doubles. They're not like, oh, you had 11 kills, 10 digs. Like, that's nice. It's like we had 22 kills, 18 digs.
Yeah.
Like, we emphatically got that double-double, and it wasn't even close. I think the thing that really stands out, though, is Campabianca with 5 blocks. Southern is a tough team to block with Ashley Strodes, great hitter on the outside, and Riley Millard is such a good setter at getting the ball away from blocks. 5 blocks for Western Reserve's middle, who's always been kind of in the shadow of blockers of the past for Western Reserve. You know, everyone talks about Danny Voletich and what she brought to the table a couple of years ago at Western Reserve. And I feel like finally, after last year and this year now, Campabianca is like finding her own spot in the light a little bit.
Well, she comes from a great family tree because if you know the Campabiancas, they have dominated Western Reserve athletics for the past, 5 years?
Right.
You know, I remember when her brother played football there. He was one of the best athletes on the football field. I think he actually was on the Ohio State practice squad for football for a long time.
I think so too. I think you're right. I think looking back at his football career, that was one of the questions we asked her when we did our interview with her. Like, what's it like to be in this family legacy? That we have a lot of athletes like that are in a great family that has been kind of a legacy builders for their programs. We talked to Maria Rizzo from McDonald just a couple of days ago. That's one that definitely has to live up to a family name as well, with what Zach was able to do in the basketball program, and then of course Coach Rizzo.
Yeah, all the Brazils are legends over there.
Legends.
I mean, of course, you talk about their success, and it's cool to have that type of duo with the head coach, and then also with your son playing on the court. So there's a couple of other, father and son duos that we have in the Valley. I'll talk about one of them, Mike McKenzie, who's the football coach, and then his son, the broadcaster's in the booth for Beaver Local.
We had to text Mike, breathe, buddy.
Oh,
he was losing it.
I saw the highlights of that game, and he was
totally understandable because
it.
that was nuts. Because Beaver Local was down 35-21.
Yeah, they were down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Somehow they scored 21 points in 7 minutes.
So they had the kickoff return, they had the interception,
right.
And then Klein takes that RPO down the sideline for 40-some yards, and they take the lead.
That RPO completely shook the defense of Wheeling Central because Klein was pretty much untouched to the end zone.
Well, I talked about this last night. Klein is 6'3", 210 pounds, so very difficult to tackle. He's almost like a linebacker frame, and he's their quarterback. This year, 9 touchdowns on the ground and 738 yards rushing as well. So he's got some really good rushing yards, and they run that dual threat offense where they run the RPO and he could run it or he could throw it.
The RPO works so well because Caleb White is such a threat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Caleb White has made more highlight, oh my gosh, plays of the week plays this year than I think anybody. I think if we could have made him number 1 play of the week every week, we probably would have. I mean, just making plays like it's his job. It is his job. So like it's his job. It actually is his job to make plays. Beaver Local is rolling into the playoffs, but we'll go back to the volleyball scores from last night real quick as we have more Division 4 games to finish. Badger, who's been quietly having a really good volleyball season. I feel like not a lot of people talk about the Braves in this volleyball year. 3-0, they get the win over Open Door Christian, who I had never heard of.
Me either. I don't think I've ever heard of that school.
And then Wellsville got the win over Sebring in 3. Presley Stokes double-double. She's been doing a really good job this year, being asked to be a setter when she's in the back row, taking away some of her swings. This is the ultimate, thing that you can show that you're sacrificing for your team, because she's not putting up the kill numbers per se that she was last year that got her so much attention. But what she is doing is saying, okay, but when I'm in the back row, I'm going to be setting. So I have over 200 kills, over 200 assists as well. And she does a pretty good job on defense. So she has become a much more well-rounded volleyball player than she even was her freshman year when she put up those ungodly offensive numbers last year as a freshman.
And when you look at this Wellsville team last night especially, they had 2 girls with a double-double.
Mm-hmm.
Papa Ryder had 12 assists and 10 digs. And then Amato had 9 kills and 5 blocks as well. So an impressive night for her. They almost had 3 Tigers with a double-double last night in their win, and a big one.
And it's tough to get a double-double with blocks. And Amato had 5 of them. I think she gets underappreciated because of how much people talk about Presley Stokes. But Alana Amato is just a threat, a really good threat. She swings really well. And now she's brought net defense to her repertoire. Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, you're going to have to play defense to win a district title. And, I was kind of surprised when they beat Sebring that bad. I mean, it was 25-14, 25-13, 25-16. Now, Sebring pulled off the upset, flying high after they beat Jackson Milton, in the last round. But so they knew this was going to be a tough challenge, but the way that Wellsville did it last night in that fashion was a little bit surprising.
I think what they did really well is, obviously with Sebring, they have a really good player in Blake Thomas. And watching the game, it was actually on YSN. So thank you to Gary and his crew for doing that game, and it was sponsored wonderfully. But you watch that game, and they did a really good job of neutralizing Sebring's best threat, which is Blake Thomas, who hits the ball from everywhere. Backcourt, she'll go back row attack, she'll go front row attack, doesn't really matter. they try to set her as much as possible.
Mhm.
Wellsville was just not letting her get her numbers.
And that's key. I mean, when you got one player that swings it that way, that's what I like about a couple of other volleyball teams around our area. I mean, Wellsville, we just routed off their numbers. They got more than one player that could beat you. Lakeview, we've talked about this season. They've got a multitude of swingers with Schmader and Lytle and Schneider that could beat you as well. So you gotta be multi-dimensional, or else you're not going to win in playoff volleyball, because it's easy to put a double blocker on your outside attacks, and they could play you good defensively.
And here's another thing I don't think people talk about enough for Wellsville. That's Aubrey Ramsey for defense. She is a great libero. She does a lot of good work. I think there are things about Wellsville that get overshadowed because of how just unbelievably good Presley Stokes is at volleyball. Probably going to be a Division I volleyball player. She's got everything that you need to be that. She's a 6 rotation player, does her job, digs, sets, hits when she needs to be a hitter. But don't forget about Aubrey Ramsey back there. As a libero, digging up balls it's her job. I keep saying that like it's her job. It is their job, literally.
Don't forget about what McDonald brings to the table as well,
Right.
with Brazil and
That is
Costantino are two good attackers that they could go to on both the left and right side. So, Wellsville, we talk about their defensive numbers. They're going to have to play well against two good attackers for McDonald in that district final.
That is a professional segue into the next final score, which is the last one in the volleyball circle last night. McDonald gets the win over Dalton 3-1. Pulling up your set scores here for you. Thank you to Michael Klockner for always reporting stats from McDonald. The set scores were 25, 12, 22. I almost saw that too as a 1. 25-22. McDonald won the first set. Dalton came back, won the second one, 25-19. Then McDonald rattled off the next two, 25-15, 25-22. And you look at these numbers. Maria Brazil led in kills, but she had 22 kills, 18 digs, and then 24 assists, a triple-double. We talk about double-doubles. Maria Brazil had the triple-double, and then Gianna Constantino did the exact same thing. 21 assists, 28 digs, 12 kills. So a triple-double for both of those players. And then you have digs galore, too, because outside of them, you had 3 other players that had double-digit kills. Megan Zajac, a fellow senior for Brazil, had 14. You had Miley Titus, who was their libero, with 19. And then down there, you had Juliana Krumpak with 22 digs as well. So defense everywhere. As a team, I'm going to do the math real quick on the calculator to see what these totals were. But they had a lot of digs, 28 plus 6 plus 14 plus 18. Let's see.
I was going to say, can you do this in your head?
I can't do it in my head. I had to use the calculator. 4, 19, and 22. All right, so plus 4, plus 19, plus 22. 111 digs as a team last night for McDonald.
Pretty good. They're going to have to do the same thing in district final. Stokes is very difficult to defend. I don't think they're going to have 111 digs in the district final, but they're going to have to play that way to beat a very high-powered Wellsville offensive team.
That's going to be a very fun game, and it's the only district. Well, not the only district. It's one of 2 districts that is local. Our local fans can go and watch it. It'll be in Lisbon on Thursday at 7:00 between McDonald and Wellsville.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, that is nice that they're playing that one at Lisbon, and the other one, Columbiana too,
right.
Isn't a far drive between Western Reserve and Canton Central Catholic, and then you get into the bigger regions where you're at Medina, you're at Orwell for Division III. I know you're gonna make that trip tonight, which should be pretty good matchups all across the board there. And then Streetsboro is another one in Jefferson. So for us, here in East Palestine and the Youngstown area, far drives to get to a lot of these districts.
I know. And then you look at even like the neutral sites, the way it worked out with the seeds. Like we had South Range last week that had to drive all the way to Mineral Lake Catholic just to do a game, just to have a game. That was an hour and a half drive. I was talking to one of their coaches, and they said they were late. They couldn't avoid it. They got there at 5:50 when the game start was 6.
Wow.
And they started the warm-up clock like as soon as they walked off the bus. They said, all right, here's your 20 minutes. Get in there.
Well, I hope they don't do that the second time because they got Mineral Lake Catholic tonight.
Yeah,
this
time
at Medina.
it'll be in Medina.
Yeah.
So I think Medina's a little bit closer than Minter.
A little bit.
So you shouldn't be late this time around. And it'll be, I think are they the first game or I forget.
They're 6:00 too.
All right, so they have to get there a little bit early. But South Range is feeling really good about themselves. I was talking to their coaching staff. They were there at the YSU game over the weekend, so I had a chance to talk to them. They feel like they're really clicking right now as a team. They're starting to get the ball a little bit more spread out. Of course, Maria Primavera is going to be someone that they rely on a lot. We've talked about that. But, Olivia Mealy is really doing a good job in the middle. You have Maddie Dado, who's starting to grow into that middle position. Gianna Pasquale is a good libero. They feel like if they play a really good game, they also said we're kind of hoping that Lake Catholic is a little bit off.
Well,
But, they don't feel like they're going to go in there and get dispounded, which is good.
I mean, I don't want to say we called it, but we kind of did call it that South Range would pull off 2 upsets and then get to this district semifinal against Mentor Lake Catholic, handling Columbiana, beating LeBray in straight sets 3-0. So what's nice is they played one more game in the past 2 weeks than Mentor Lake Catholic has because they took the bye as the number 1 seed. South Range had to play the first 2 rounds, and they've won 5 out of the last, 7 or 5 out of the last 6.
Right. And they've been the underdogs, and they're used to it. So they're going to be fun to watch tonight. We'll talk about the volleyball games that are going on tonight a little bit later on the show. But first, I want to take a breath. We got to take a break. Pay some bills. We have Brian Tolnar in the second hour, and we also have a pre-recorded interview that we're going to play with you with McKaylin Fitz from West Branch. So look forward to that in the second hour of the show. But first, pay some bills, take a break. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online, Wednesday afternoon weather update,
very dangerous,
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. you're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Richie Giuliano as we bring in Brian Tolnar as we always do every week. Brian, how we doing, buddy?
We're doing good. It's a golfing Wednesday. A little bit wet, but we got some players, believe it or
There
not.
you go. You know, I wanted to ask you this because I saw this pop up on, the Metro Park site, and it was the Haunted Mill. It's an adult-only event coming up this Saturday. I kind of wanted to get your input on it a little bit. I know that Halloween, of course, is usually a kids' event with trick or treat, but this is an adults-only 18 and up event. So, what does this type of event kind of offer?
Well, from what I hear, our education department is putting that on. This will be the first time that they've done that. Lynn Zaccolo over in our education department does a phenomenal job with all the events that they run throughout the course of the year. I know they have a couple of our golfers signed up for it. I think they got the last couple of spots, but I guess there's going to be some like paranormal. I don't know what their actual names are, but enthusiasts or people that track ghosts and all of that stuff and hauntings. They're going to be there throughout the course of the night doing a presentation and a show. So if you're into Halloween and you like scary stuff, that is definitely for you. For me, maybe not so much, but I think it'll be a pretty cool program when it's all said and done. I think there's two different settings with it, and it's over the course of a week. I think it's Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. But it looks pretty interesting, and it's something new that the education department is doing this year in 2022.
So what you're saying is we're getting the Ghostbusters at Mill Creek.
Pretty much.
Oh, man. We were talking to Richie earlier. He hasn't seen the original Ghostbusters,
I've not.
nor the new one.
Oh, you're missing one of the greatest movies of all time. I mean, absolutely perfect.
Kind of got stunned out of the office.
The sequel to that one was pretty good as well, but the first one, nothing tops Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and all of it. Just they were phenomenal. That was back when movies were movies.
I know. Have you seen the newest one where they make kind of it's kind of a sequel, kind of a reboot?
I saw parts of it. I want to say either last weekend or the weekend before. Yeah, doesn't hold a candle to the original.
No, most remakes don't. That's how it is. What else is kind of going on? I know the high school golf is now over. We've wrapped up the state championships. We talked about Rocco Turner last week. So what's going on now as far as golfers and what they should be doing now that their season is over and they're taking kind of that break? Is this the time where you take mental break if you're a golfer between the months of maybe August and January, when you can get back inside and warm up on the cold?
Well, for me, it was a little bit different. Both high school and collegiate golf. YSU boys just finished up yesterday, I believe, and the girls finished up last weekend. So their season's done for the fall season. They'll be back at it in the spring, and obviously the high school season here is now complete. One of the things that I used to like to do was take a week off, and then you've got the new equipment coming out, the new golf balls coming out for next year about this time of year. So it was a great way to test what's new, to be able to figure out what you're going to use for the following year before the year ended, while you were still swinging good, while you were still playing competitively, and you can get the full reaction of, what are the new golf balls doing? What are the new shoes? What are the new clubs, being launched right now? So, I mean, it was basically a month and a half up until about Thanksgiving that you'll have an opportunity to try and test, new different things before the season starts. And then a lot of players, will do off-season workouts, fitness and exercise, and they'll transition to what we see quite a bit this part of the year. Now that we're going into our dormant season, a lot of people will transfer over into that indoor golf practice and playing facility. So, there's plenty of options when it comes to golf here, with all the indoor places and the Top Golfs and the Bunker, and the thing that we're doing here, and the place in Columbiana and Salem. So I mean, there's a lot of these that are popping up in Kensington that you have that opportunity to play golf 12 months out of the year. And that's one of the things that I like that we didn't have when I was a junior high school, player. You basically, you put the clubs away, you played basketball, and you came out in the spring and, sort of mudded it around for a couple months until the weather changed and the ground firmed up. But now you really have, 12 months of being able to swing the club, test equipment, hit the golf ball, chip and putt. And we're at a much better position as golfers in the northeastern part of the country than we were 10 or 12 years ago.
I will say this: competitive golfers might take a break, but those who like to play for fun can still have the clubs in the back of their car for this weekend. I'm looking at our 21 Storm Tracker site here. It's going to be 61 degrees on Friday and 59 degrees on Saturday. It's going to be sunny as well. So some beautiful conditions to go out and play at Mill Creek for this weekend. Usually around this time, you never know if you're going to get rain, snow. We're going to have sunshine and 60 degrees. So, talk about the course conditions right now and the opportunity to come out and play at Mill Creek this weekend.
Well, it has been absolutely fabulous the last couple of weeks, especially with, the weather. I think we hit about 79 here on Saturday afternoon, and Sunday it was warm. We had it's funny, we just finished up our fall junior camp on Sunday. In the first 2 weeks, it was like 40 degrees. You could see your breath when you're teaching it. The kids were freezing, all bundled up. And the last day of the camp, it's like 79 degrees out and sunny, and you're peeling off layers of clothes. But there's plenty of great golf to be played in the fall. I was a big fan of playing golf in the fall. Number one, you see the beauty of the golf course. Number two, you are fighting leaves, but a little bit. But it's your last ditch effort of being able to play before you have to put them up. When the conditions get to the point where we close it down and put our winter chemicals down, and snow starts flying and sleet and all of that stuff. But it's a great transition. You get finished playing, early afternoon, you watch some college football. You get finished playing on Sunday, you watch some NFL football. So it makes for great weekends in the fall. That's why I like that. You've got World Series, you've got everything that you want, coming down to the line. You're into the heart of the college football season when the games have some meaning to it. You're in the midway point, almost at the NFL season. So it's a great time to be outdoors and take in, the high school football playoffs like we have this weekend, and then get up and play on Saturday. But we've got a myriad of activities. We have one more event left here called our Snowbird Scramble on the 13th of November. It's at 11 o'clock, and we usually pair that with a Cleveland Browns or a Pittsburgh Steelers game when everybody finishes and we're doing the awards ceremony. So it makes a fun day, and it really helps us close out the season and kind of go from there before we start what we call our sale season. Black Friday sale right after Thanksgiving, 12 days of Christmas sale early December, and then our big blowout sale with whatever's left in the golf shop on the 23rd. So, a lot of moving parts still at this time of the year. Par 3 is going to stay open till, I believe, the 13th or 14th of November. So you have an opportunity to play, and it's been super busy down there as well. And then we've been, off the charts here. I think Saturday at one point we had every cart in our fleet on the golf course. So we were waiting for carts to come off to circle them, clean them, and put them back out. And it was the same for Sunday. So, if the weather stays in the 60s and 50s and it's sunny, I think we're going to have quite a bit. And it's like anything, we blow off the golf course every single day with the leaves, and, throughout the course of the day, the evening, they start picking up again. But, for the 80% of the day that you can come out and golf, we have the golf course in conditions that are, you've been playing and conducive to good quality throughout the course of the year. The greens are blown off, the fairways are blown off, the tees on a daily basis, as well as being cut and rolled. So, a lot of great golf left to be played.
Man, shout out to the grounds crew, because I think homeowners are annoyed just by getting leaves off their own lawn, which is nothing compared to getting leaves off an entire golf course.
I tell our superintendent, it's like a snow globe out there. Like, you look out the window and that's all you see is leaves flying. And these guys got to feel terrible because they come into work and they do the same thing. It's like Groundhog's Day. You're blowing off everything. By the time you leave, come back the next day, you're back to square one again. So the good news is about half of our leaves, looking at everything on the property here, are down on the ground, picked up and moved, and we've got half left that'll probably be here. If we get another day or two of rain and a frost, probably a week or two, they'll be gone as well. So, and then it's clear sailing the rest of the fall. The guys do a good job cleaning up. Lance and his staff, our superintendent, are phenomenal at what they do. And you feel bad for them in the fall because they're still cutting the grass. They're still getting the golf course tournament ready. And they've also blown, 8 hours worth of leave times the 12 people that we have on staff here every single day, 7 days a week until they're gone.
The leaf blower industry is alive and well at the
Absolutely.
golf course. I want to give you a chance to further promote that snowbird scramble that you have. I know you talked about it. We've talked about it last week as well. Go into a little bit more detail what it is and how people can sign up for it if they want to have a team there.
You can sign up by coming in the golf shop or calling the golf shop at 330-740-7112. Basically, it's a fun event that we host at the end of the year. It's our basically grand finale. The restaurant will, blow out some chili and all kinds of warm food because it's normally, pretty chilly at that time of the year. And it's a good way for us to move some merchandise in the fall. But what we do is we tuck all the pins on the hills and the crowns, and we really trick it up to the point where it's kind of like a superintendent's revenge on making the golf course play hard just on the putting aspect of it. And we, like the one year we had a leaf blower on number 10. So you hit it up there, and if you putted it, the leaf blower would blow your golf ball around. We try to make it fun, and we just try to make it different. It's a 4-person scramble, so there's no pressure. We have hot dogs and hamburgers at the turn, and then you come in and they usually do chili and pasta and pretty much whatever he's got left over to push out. From a food and beverage perspective, we give a ton of prizes away, and it's just a good day to close out the year and see your friends. For some of them, it's the last time they'll see them till the spring. So it's a nice day to play golf, finish, watch a Cleveland Browns or a Steelers game when you're done, and go home and relax. And kind of at that point, we're close to putting our clubs away for the year. Last year on the back nine, we had about an inch of snow, so it was a true snowbird, and that was the first out of the 8 years that we've had snow. It's been a little bit chilly, but last year it accumulated, and it was like everybody was putting a snowman. The golf ball got bigger as you went. But some teams figured it out. They used the back of a rake to go where their line was and made it fun, but they still managed to shoot 7, 8, 9 under par. So still shooting good golf under those conditions, but it's fun for us, the staff, to host events like that and basically close out the year having fun.
So is that like the exact day then you close the course to the public and you start putting down the chemicals like you said for the winter? Is that like your guys' exact date after the snowbird event where you're like, okay, we're going to close things down and kind of get ready for next summer?
What's pretty close, we have our South course usually gets shut down around the 15th of November, if we can stretch it out that long. There's some years that we've had to close it up in late October, and some years we've been closed at this point that we're talking now. But a couple years we made it to Thanksgiving. I try to go as far as I can on the north, as long as I can. And, it's generally right around Thanksgiving. We will get some traffic on Black Friday and Saturday and Sunday of that holiday weekend. And then from that point on, it sort of tapers off if the weather is okay. But if it's, snowing, we put the winter chemicals down. We have to keep the people off, just for protection of the grass and everything. But we do open our cart paths on the north and south for walking at that point in the year. So it gives everybody in the community an alternative in walking the trails or the bikeway when we do shut down both golf courses. So it's fun for the non-golfers alike. Hole 55 is open till the end of November. So, they have the opportunity to come out and walk the golf course, ride their bike around the golf course, and, catch hole 55 for a meal and head home. So, we try to keep it open as long as we can. Some years we're better at it, but it's ultimately up to Mother Nature what she throws at us, and, giving us a good week to basically shut down, where we're taking the flags, the cups, the tee markers, the ball washers in, and, covering up the signage and all of that. So there's a lot of moving parts when we do shut it down.
All right. So before we let you go, I know you're a big fan of football on Ysn on Friday nights. We're in playoff time. So what is what's your matchup that you're looking for in week 1 of the playoffs this week?
Well, I think South Range, West Branch, Alliance, and Cheney, I think will be another great one. Canfield, obviously my alma mater, Hubbard, I think they're playing Girard, if I'm not mistaken. So, all across the board, there's going to be some great high school football. The only unfortunate part about this week in football, we cannibalize a lot of the local teams because they're playing each other, but it's certainly a good time.
Richie, you have in front of us how many like local matchups do we have?
Yeah.
Or YSN matchups.
Yeah, we've got 4 from what I'm looking at. I mean, Springfield Matthews, you could count one. Jefferson against Poland, Girard against Hubbard, and then Liberty against South Range. And I'm still waiting for Brian to come up to the broadcasting booth. By the way,
you know what? We may do it. I'm going to be. Let's see if this week we're leaving for Arizona on Monday. We'll be back on Wednesday, possibly the following Friday. I should be able to sneak out. I know Preston's been dying to get to a game, so he's been bugging me. So I don't know if it'll be this weekend or next weekend, but I think isn't the first 2 weeks they're playing locally?
Yeah, they're at home. They're at home first 2 weeks. At that point, yeah.
Well, I definitely think we're going to catch one of those games.
All
I
right.
will reach out to you.
All right.
Arizona.
Yes.
Escaping our weather for the desert. I like it.
And we've been checking the weather out there. It's been high 80s and like low 70s at night. So I'm hoping it stays there because anytime that I leave is always like we go to Florida. This is like the coldest week we've had all year. You go to South Carolina, it's the same thing. So I'm hoping it's not in Arizona when we make it out there.
Don't take that weather with you.
Exactly. And I hope I bring some back if it is nice.
Well, that would be awesome. If you came back and it's 80 for a day, I'm gonna blame it on you. So
it'd be awesome. We'd take it.
All right, Brian, thank you for joining us like you do every week. We appreciate the time, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.
You got it. Sounds great. Have a good week, guys. Thank you.
Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek Metro Parks, joining us like he does every week. One Take Tolnar, the golf guru. He's had a lot of nicknames on YSN, but we love him to death.
I hope he's scouting some Arizona courses out there because I know they got some really nice ones. So, of course, Mill Creek is his home and where he likes to play, and it's going to be fun going out there.
Did you know in Arizona it's illegal to take those cacti out of the ground?
I did not.
Like they're like one time. I mean, I wanted to. There was a small one. I was like, oh, I can take that back home because we went to one of our mission trips back when I was in middle school was going to a reservation in Arizona. So. Oh man, this is a cool little cactus. It was like this big out of the. Oh, no, you can't touch that. That's those the ones that are
you probably can't touch it either because they're full of spikes.
But the ones with the good call. The one there's a specific name one. The ones with the arms, they look like this. They're like you're not allowed to take them out of the ground. If you get caught trying to take them, it's like it's not a felony, but it's against the law.
Might be
a felony.
Hartwig might be in jail.
Hartwig's in jail. I didn't do it. I did not transport cacti across state lines.
Anthony Hartwig is selling cacti in his basement.
Yep, that's it. Anthony Hartwig is a cacti smuggler. You didn't know it, but the spines of cacti go on the market for a very high price.
Oh, I bet. So, very rare around this area.
Breaking Bad, except it's with cacti.
Almost unseen in northeastern Ohio.
Oh man, that'd be a good spoof commercial. Anthony Hartwig doing cacti in his basement, training cacti, having cacti runners go across state lines. The next Netflix crime drama, but the life of Anthony Hartwig. It's great. Let's take another break. When we come back, we have Michaelan Fitz, and we're going to let you guys hear from West Branch Volleyball. Don't go anywhere on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Clint. Hi, this is Steve Bracetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience,
WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists.
Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats. Go Dogs. Go Tigers.
Jimmy Sugman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These 3 values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Mill Creek Metro Parks is your park for all seasons. Make a memory in the park. Plan your visit today at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Richie Giuliano. We do have a correction. I feel bad. I want to do this. Fitch actually lost to Hudson last night.
We just saw it. Yeah,
reported the wrong score. We apologize for that one. They lost 3-2, had a 2-0 lead, winning the first 2 sets. Hudson came back on them and won in 5. So we apologize for that. All these stats were right and correct that we reported, but unfortunately we just had the wrong score. So fix that up. Fitch, great season. You did, but they did fall to Hudson 3-2. But with that being said, we will go into the interview with Michaelin Fitz from West Branch Volleyball on Running Point. Thank you. Well, I should say thank you. We're not done yet. We'll be back after this interview. We'll talk about it and we'll preview tonight's games on Running Point. Anthony Hartwig here with a West Branch Volleyball player profile. I am joined by junior Michaelin Fitz. Michaelin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Yep, no problem.
So you're in this West Branch volleyball team that's been successful for a while. You're stepping into a little bit of a bigger role this year. What has been so successful for you this season, do you think?
I would definitely say blocking has become a big part of my game this year. My hitting numbers are staying like normal for how they've been in past years, but my blocking has definitely been improving over the years.
Was blocking something that you kind of singled out this off season and said, like, I really want to work on this more and develop this as the year goes on?
Yeah, because now that I've moved positions, it's kind of become more of my role. So I've always focused on blocking a lot.
What other personal goals kind of have you set for yourself this season coming into your junior year?
Just to get better all around over the season. I was hoping to be serving at the beginning of the season, and I ended up doing that. But now, due to needed changes that we made, I no longer. But it's okay.
Yeah, we've talked to some of your teammates, and they've all kind of said how good this team has been at adjusting when they need to adjust. From your perspective, what's it been like to kind of switch lineups and adjust on the fly as a team?
For me, it's been kind of easy because my role has pretty much stayed the same all through the front row. But I know for a lot of the other girls, it's been a big change from switching defenses to all kinds of different stuff.
What's it mean to you as a teammate to kind of see your teammates just be able to do that and kind of accept their new roles and accept the new positions that Coach DeShields is putting you guys in?
It really takes the weight off of everybody's shoulders, knowing that they could put somebody in this position and they'd be fine. Yeah.
I'm sure it's easy to follow that when it's someone like Coach DeShields telling you to do it. Talk about what she has meant to this program and what you've been able to learn from her as your coach.
She knows a lot about the game because she's coached so many years. At West Branch, she's had many successful years here. So,
what is one thing that a lot of people don't know about her that you think people should know?
ooh. I don't know. That's.
When do you have the most fun on the volleyball court?
I have fun when we get a good stuff block or a good kill, because just the energy that we bring on the court just is good.
Blocking or killing, which one's the better feeling in volleyball?
I feel a stuff block is because it's definitely a momentum type of thing.
You've been able to do that quite a few times this year. When you kind of go against the teams that you go against, how does that prepare you for this tournament? Because you guys have a really tough schedule.
Yeah. Definitely against Maslin, it was definitely an eye-opener due to our 3-set loss. It was definitely an eye-opener that we need to stay consistent no matter who we play.
Okay, so after that eye-opener, what were some conversations that you guys had as a team to not let that break your confidence? You're such a confident group.
Coach DeShields has always talked about how so much potential our team has, and so that helped a lot. And then our next game was against, I think, Girard. So we just focused on keeping up our energy because energy was one thing we kind of lacked against Maslin.
All right, and we all know it's now tournament time. How have things kind of changed in intensity, especially with the seniors during practice and during game time for a tournament?
Definitely with the seniors, they definitely know that it's make or break at this point. We've been taking practice very seriously because of if we lose, we're done.
I know you don't want to think about it yet, but you're going to be a senior next year. What have these seniors taught you about what you're going to have to do next year as a senior leader?
Take nothing for granted. Make every win a good win. Yeah.
Who is the senior that you think embodies kind of the best form of leadership on the team?
I would definitely say Claire Bruner, Adele Peters, and Hannah Rush. They definitely stepped up a lot in coming into this season.
This team has always had great senior leadership. Who are some older players that have kind of taken you under their wing in earlier years in your career?
So both my cousins played and graduated from West Branch, played 4 years. Sammy Tool ended up graduating a year before I came in, so I didn't really get a chance to play with her. And then Riley Tool, I got to play one season with her, which I was very grateful for. So she was one that kind of took me under her wing to help.
A little bit of family connection in the volleyball world. What's that like, kind of being able to not go too far for advice within the sport?
It definitely helps because they know what I'm going through because they've had Coach DeShields or they've known all the different switches she's made and stuff.
What do you think is the biggest form of advice they've given you throughout your career?
To not really let anything bother you, just do your thing and things will work out.
All right, so we already talked about some of the seniors this year. When you're a senior next year, what kind of things do you think you can bring to the table as far as your leadership qualities?
Definitely my enthusiasm on the court. I think I bring a lot of energy, so I think that will definitely help. And then it will help the younger girls see that it's okay to be enthusiastic on the court.
You do bring that energy. Where does that come from? What gives you that drive and that passion for the sport of volleyball?
I think it's just because I love the sport so much. So when I do something phenomenal, that it just helps because, yeah.
Let's hear the volleyball love story from Michaela. When did you kind of fall in love with the sport?
So when I was younger, softball was always my love. And when I got to like 7th and 8th grade, I kind of realized that like maybe volleyball is it. So that kind of started it off. And then a lot of my family played volleyball in the past and they were like, this is like a good way to go. So it kind of just helped. Yeah.
What was the turning point? What was that thing in 7th and 8th grade that made you start to lean towards volleyball?
It was more volleyball is more of a mental game, and I liked how the enthusiasm of the game. It was a faster pace type of deal.
All right, in your growth as a player, what do you think is the kind of the toughest skill set you've had to learn, and the one that took you the longest to kind of master about volleyball?
I would definitely say my blocking. At the beginning, it was a little rough, but it's definitely come a long way.
What do you think is the biggest misconception around about volleyball that maybe some of your West Branch classmates or some of the people that are outside the sport have?
I definitely think people think it's boring because it's not like football where you can be cheering all the time, but it's like it definitely has a good mixture of good and bad.
All right. We also, one of the things we know about this team is you guys are well conditioned. Those 5-set rallies, those long volleys. What do you think it is about this team that makes them be able to push through those type of moments?
We're very energetic on and off the court, so that definitely helps us stick with the play. Yeah.
All right. Outside of you, who brings the most energy on the team? Who's the spark plug?
I would definitely say Reagan Greeneisen or Adele Peters.
Yeah, I think I echo that in the games that I've been able to watch from you guys at least. This West Branch community, we talk about it almost probably with every West Branch athlete we talk to, because it's different. They travel different. They support you guys in such a big way. What's it mean to you to always have that big green machine on your back?
It's definitely a good feeling from knowing that I will like always have somebody there to support us.
I mean, how much energy does the big crowd give you guys? Because whether you're home or away, I feel like most of the time you guys outnumber the other team's fans.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But their energy is kind of like the same as ours. It's so like it's every once in a while, like when we'll do something good, like they'll have the exact same energy as we do on the court.
All right. So one of the things that I also want to ask is what makes this West Branch school system such a special place to be, and what makes you proud that you get to represent West Branch, wear those colors, and wear the Warriors across your chest?
It definitely helps that I've known a lot of the success that we've had in the past. So I want to make it up to the people that have graduated to carry on their legacy.
I mean, yeah, talk about that. You walk in this gym and you look and you see, Ohio State banners. You see, a bunch of district championship banners. Just as an athlete, even if it's not volleyball, but if it's other sports too, what does that do for you as an athlete to want to uphold the legacy of West Branch athletics?
It definitely helps in basketball, mostly for us looking up to all of the players at a younger age. Like when they ended up going to state in 2015, I was in, I think, 6th grade. So it really helped because I looked up to a lot of those players in basketball. So I just wanted to make them proud and continue.
So in volleyball, you're coached by Coach DeShields. In basketball, you're coached by Coach DeShields, Walt and Penny. So first, what is similar about the two? What are some of the things that they both bring to the table in their coaching styles?
Their coaching styles are definitely a lot alike. We do a lot of conditioning in both, but they're both very. I would say they're not much about their coaching styles are different. It's an easy transition from volleyball practices to basketball practice because they make it so comfortable at practice.
If you had to pick just one way that they differ, or one thing that's a little bit different about them, let's hear it.
I would say for basketball, he's a lot more like traditional stuff. Like he doesn't change much.
Mm-hmm. Who yells more?
Who yells more? Oh. It definitely depends. I rarely hear Coach DeShields yell. Like it's rare.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. When you look at going from basketball, volleyball, you're so busy. You also play club volleyball. How do you manage all of that and being able to constantly be doing something in a sport?
Yeah, it's definitely hard to keep up with going from volleyball to basketball to JO, and then keeping up my grades. So we've already started our basketball practice. So a lot of us miss those because of now. And then when the transition from basketball to JO is definitely difficult because sometimes I'll have to go from basketball practice, get ready, and go to volleyball. So it's definitely a lot.
All right, so 2-part question. What subject do you struggle with the most, and what subject are you the best at?
I would definitely say I struggle in English the most right now. And then my best class, I think, is science.
All right. That's what kind of science are you most interested in? Is it the biology, the chemistry, physics? There's so many kind of different worlds of science.
Right now, I'm taking marine biology where we're dissecting and learning about different fish and dissecting like sharks and stuff.
Are you good at dissecting stuff, or is it still one of those like mind blocks where you have to realize that you're dissecting an animal?
Yeah, it's kind of a mind block to where I have to realize that this was living at one point.
Right. You do, we talked about it. You do play JO volleyball, which gives you the chance to play against such good competition and get coached by other personalities and other philosophies. What's that do for you as a volleyball player to be exposed to a lot of big competition and other coaching minds around the area?
It definitely helps learning a lot of different coaching, how different ways coaches coach. Because one of my JO coaches is the Crestview coach. So she definitely coaches differently than Coach DeShields does. And then my other coach, he used to coach at Waterloo and he coaches different as well. So it definitely helps when I'm looking for like college. I know how it definitely helps with the experience.
All right, last question I have about the JO volleyball is obviously there's a little bit of a different mindset when you're in JO volleyball. It's kind of about exposing yourself and trying to get recruited and things like that. So how does that kind of differ from the high school volleyball scene and that kind of thing?
JO definitely helps you get the exposure that you're looking for, especially depending on who you're playing. And so, yeah.
All right, Michaela, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system and all the people that have been there for you throughout the years.
I'd like to shout out to my mom. She's always been there for me through ups and downs. And then my aunt as well.
All right, so I've been told that your mom is pretty much the team mom. She's been given that whole that title. Definitely cares about every player on the floor. Really quick, because you brought her up. What does she mean, not just to you, but what do you think she means to this team?
She definitely means a lot because she coached many of us in 7th and 8th grade. So she has that bond with the girls and they know her very well. And when we didn't have a coach in the summer, she kind of stepped in so we would have the opportunity in the summer to get better and work on things we needed to work on.
We definitely appreciate that. We appreciate her support of YSN. We thank her for everything. And we thank you for your time to come on and talk to us about your season. We wish you the best of luck in your tournament run, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Yep, thank you.
McKaylin Fitz from West Branch. They are still alive and kicking in the tournament. They will play tonight along with our other Division II teams. They have a matchup with Jefferson. Anthony Hartwig here with Richie Giuliano on a Wednesday episode of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. This is a very interesting matchup tonight in Jefferson. I mean, yeah, right? No, it's actually in Streetsboro. Jefferson did not want to go to their host district. They are hosting a Division II district, but Gerard's playing up there with Marlington on the other end of the district semifinal. But in Streetsboro, West Branch versus Jefferson, 5 versus 6. YSN is guaranteed a member in the district championship.
Yeah.
That's what we love to see the most. But a lot of people talk about Lakeview Crestview and Mineral Ridge Kirtland, which rightfully so. But this West Branch Jefferson game going to be very fun to watch. 5 versus 6.
Yeah, it is. And West Branch, we talked about it with one of their players earlier in Bruner. 3-0 beating Salem, their rival, in that first round, then beating Geneva 3-1. So they're riding high after some big victories, but so is Jefferson. Jefferson has swept 3 out of their last 4 opponents that they've played. The only loss was to Lakeview there towards the end of the season. So they're also a really good volleyball team. They're younger. Remington Ryan, the only senior for Jefferson, but that really hasn't mattered this year. An 18-win season for the Falcons, including that playoff victory over Alliance in sweeping fashion. So should be a good one tonight.
It is a good time to be a Falcon. If you're in Jefferson, the football team 7-3, they're a top 8 seed. Sorry, I had to do the wings.
You look like angels in the outfit.
I know. I want.
That's pretty good. That's actually.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies, so I know the score by heart. Right side.
I got you all off track.
Completely sidetracked me. Movie nerd. No, but Jefferson, good time to be a Jefferson Falcon. Their football team is a top 8 seed hosting Poland in the playoffs, and now their volleyball team with a chance to go into a district championship.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jefferson, I think they got a pretty good first-round matchup. Poland's going to be a great game on Friday night.
Revenge is going to be on the mind of the Bulldogs.
Because they spoiled that senior night at Poland. So, that should be a good one Friday. This should be a good one tonight. And you're right. Good time to be a Jefferson Falcon up there in Ashtabula.
Richie, that was the first time the football program had ever beaten Poland this season.
Wow.
So first time in program history they
might
beat
be the
Poland.
last too.
And Poland, like you're sitting there thinking like we just beat these guys for the first time ever, and now we have to do it again. That would be like the cherry to the top, right? You've never beaten this program, and you beat them twice in one season.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson's a tough place to play. We've talked a lot about that. Not just a bus ride. There must be some kind of bad mojo in Jefferson, because I've seen a lot of really good teams in every sport, go up to Jefferson and just look flat there. And it's not like these teams haven't taken 40-minute bus rides before. It's not something new. But there's something about traveling to Jefferson that just gives some teams the bugaboos, man. I don't know what it is.
Well, Jefferson's a team that has played well at home this season. I mean, you look at Grant Hitchcock, who's moved back and forth from wide out to quarterback, and he's got 4 touchdowns passing, 9 running in. So Jefferson, of course, with Grant, one of the best players in the NE8, always has a chance to win with him on the basketball court and on the football field as well. And let's be honest, Poland's just been, plagued by injuries this year. They've lost their quarterbacks. JP Genova and Don Pagano have taken over. Bryce Behringer has not been a consistent player.
Wait a minute. We have to talk about who just walked into the studio. It's Gary Leininger.
That's some Dairy Queen, Gary?
I think he's got some Dairy Queen. Don't be holding that on.
Come give me a hug, Gary.
Get on camera, Gary.
I had to treat you guys for a little bit.
What's up?
Living the dream. You're not on the air, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Come on. Come see
Right
us.
here.
Just what I need.
Gary on the air. Is this the first?
No, DJ let me be on it the other day.
Okay. Well, you need a little bit more. Let's
get
your
a waiver
in there.
There you go.
I got to come over more by Richie.
You can't. Yeah, you're getting blocked.
there
by
I
the-
Yep,
there
that's
it
me.
is. Gary. How you doing, bud?
What are you guys discussing today?
We were just talking about. We were just talking about volleyball. Jefferson versus West Branch tonight in Streetsboro. You've had a chance to see that West Branch volleyball team too. Take a lot of great pictures of them.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good. I know that
they're
hurts
good.
you to say as a Salem guy. Hurts you to say a little bit as a Quaker. To say the West Branch.
Well, yeah, they cracked them 3 times. So Salem was young, though. They're young. They're still a year or 2 away. So we'll see.
Ice cream. You brought some ice cream.
I brought you some Buster Bars down since we're all closed up.
Legend.
Who's Wellsville play then?
Wellsville plays tomorrow against McDonald in Lisbon, and I texted you like we were deciding what games we were going to go to tomorrow, and I said you can take the Lisbon one because that's a guaranteed YSN championship. So he'll be down there taking pictures of Wellsville versus
Pretty
McDonald.
pictures. Yep, that's me. Richie got all his notes here.
Yeah, Richie's prepared. He puts us all to shame.
He puts time into that.
That's
He's a
right.
good man. He's a good man.
You're the best.
No, you guys are number one.
I'm kind of interested to give Richie a camera to see if he can also master photography.
Oh no.
Oh,
It'd be blurry.
he could do it. Your finger would be in front of the thing.
If I can, Richie, if I can do it, you can do
I
it.
used to shoot video at Youngstown State, but that's not pictures. It's completely different.
Well, yeah, that's okay.
Gary, what's the key to a great sports photography picture?
Right place at the right time. I mean, if you're at the one end zone and they catch the pass right in front of you, you're
lucky.
there. I mean, you got to have a lot of luck.
Right.
It's all about luck.
What's we have a couple of your pictures on the wall out there. Do you have like a favorite that you've taken from YSN?
I don't know. I like that one golf one out there with all the
Right.
sand coming up. But I also like baseball where they're sliding back into first.
What's your favorite sport to photograph?
I don't know. Football, they got their helmets on. You can't see, you can't see their face or nothing. I don't know. I'd probably baseball. I don't know. I like lacrosse though. When I shot lacrosse, Mooney lacrosse. When I can't remember who they played, Poland or somebody.
Right.
So outdoor is always better than indoor. Everybody can take out.
So basketball season's tough for you.
Yeah.
You ever been hit by a basketball player under the hoop?
No.
Volleyball? You ever been socked by
Well,
volleyball?
I got to, a couple times they come close to me. I was at the Browns game one time taking pictures, and I seen them coming at me, and I just still didn't think nothing of it. And I just stood there, one on one side, one on. If they would have hit me, they would have killed me. And at a Buckeye game once too. They're bigger than normal. These boys that play down at Ohio State or in the Browns or something. So.
Well, you ever been hit by a volleyball?
No, close.
Close?
Close.
I feel like sometimes
they had to defect it.
Sometimes I'm talking to Gary and I feel like they're aiming for him because he'll move away and they'll keep hitting the balls towards it. It's like, Gary, you weren't a target.
Yeah, I think they do aim at me a little bit.
I've definitely been hit. Richie, have you ever been hit by a volleyball down at the scores table at YSU?
No, I haven't.
I saw Romo almost got hit by one this weekend, and I've definitely been hit by one at the scores table at YSU.
See, when I was there, we were only down there with you. Then they moved us up top because of COVID.
Oh, I see. So
we
I
weren't
was
actually down on the scores.
I was the one putting everybody in.
Yeah, it would sting a little bit getting hit with that volleyball.
It's not fun. It's not soft.
No, and the girls hit it pretty kind of hard too. So,
especially at the college level.
Oh yeah.
Gary, wrapping up Dairy Queen. What was the Dairy Queen season like for you?
Oh, we had a good year. Good year. Made a lot of money, but we spent a lot more money than what we made. So, as you know, the prices of this country such in a upside down world now. So
I'll never forget. We were at the YSN All-Star game for baseball. Gary got a call in the middle of the game. They had a huge order come in, and I feel like they didn't even know. They either didn't know what to do with it, or you had to get out of there quick to get down to Dairy Queen. That was one of the coolest moments I ever saw.
it was cool, right?
It was
What's your favorite?
Favorite what?
Ice cream.
I like the Reese Cup Blizzard. It's gotta be that.
Oh.
So
Dairy
get a
Queen.
call right now.
Dairy Queen emergency.
You're reopening.
No, I am a diabetic, so I have a thing that tells me when my sugar's high or low.
Is it high right
Is it
now?
high?
It's high a little bit now because I just ate.
Since if it's low,
I
you
ate supper.
better go eat
No, I
one of
know.
those deli
No,
bars over there.
but the Reese Cup Blizzard is by far, I think, the best. That's what I like. But
I'm old school. I like the Oreo Blizzard. Give me the Oreo.
I like a
If
cone
it's-
with crunch on it.
If it's mixed right, like sometimes the Dairy Queen workers don't, not yours. Yours are amazing.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes
that's
other Dairy
amazing.
Queen workers, like all the Oreo gets mixed up in the bottom, and you don't taste any of it until you get to the end of the.
That's bad. That's bad.
What is the best new addition that you had this year?
Well, we had them cinnamon roll centers.
Oh.
They were pretty good. It'd have to be that one. I don't know what they're coming out with next year.
So you got me in the mood now. As soon as
Cinnamon
this
rolls
show's
are my
over,
weakness.
I'm going right to that.
Well, you can
freezer
go right
there.
down there to the competitor and get something.
No, he's gonna go right to the
Right to the
freezer.
freezer.
You just brought.
Oh, well, that's a Buster Bar. That's the best thing we have is a Buster Bar.
You think?
Gary,
With the
he
hot
would.
fudge and peanuts in it, yes.
Ricky would never go to one of your competitors right in front of you.
Well, he's a good man. I don't care what you and DJ say about him. He is a good guy.
See, he's always stirring the drink.
He
Gary's always stirring the
He's
pot.
a good guy.
All right, Gary, thank you for hopping on
Well, that
for a
was
bit.
nice.
Great to
guys
see
let me
you.
on the air.
Yeah.
I've turned my pay time into DJ. Who's the guaranteed
do this
lock?
for
Who's
free.
the guaranteed lock Friday night? South
South
Range.
South Range.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think West
South
Branch
Range
is a
and
lock.
JFK is a lock.
West Branch is a lock.
Oh, they're beat up. I mean, that Salem game was another. That was a
Yeah.
crazy game again. But that
They're not going
being
to
a
one.
Quaker though, I'm kind of rooting for Salem. They're going down to Canton South. Canton South has a stud quarterback.
Yeah, they do. That's an old
So,
school rivalry.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens down there. But
And they would play Beaver Local in the second
yeah,
round.
second round.
They
Yeah,
beat Beaver Local.
yeah,
in
they
week
did.
two.
That was early in the year. Beaver's on a roll right now. So,
That's something. Beavers, that roll is almost an understatement.
well, yes, I don't. They've been to the playoffs before. I think when the Pastor kid played back maybe 10 years ago or so, at least. So, okay, boys, keep your show up.
All right, Gary.
Let me know next time you're bored. I'll pop in and we
All
can
right.
talk about something.
Awesome.
I'll come up with different
I'm
subjects.
gonna keep texting you.
That's
Be like,
fine.
hey, Gary, I'm bored. Gotta love that guy. He makes our website look amazing. You know, all the writing that we do, all the stuff we do, it would be nothing if we didn't have the great pictures that we have. In fact, he's featured on the homepage right now. You go there and the Wellsville volleyball story is the first that pops up. And guess what? That's a picture from Gary Leininger.
Yep, of course it is. Legend.
He has a majority of our pictures. He does a great job. And like I said, our website would not look anything close to what it looks like now without the wonderful photography that Mr. Leininger does for us.
Makes our world a lot easier, doesn't it?
Whew.
You and I
Imagine-
both know if there's a game that we can't find pictures, it's miserable.
I know.
Looking at 15 different sites, seeing if we can post it because you got to get obviously, the rights from
Right.
the holder, and it's just amazing when you go on Smug Mug and it's just like
right there.
boom.
By the way, those pictures that Gary takes are for sale. You can go to Smug Mug and buy any pictures that you see on those galleries. And we have all of them up. You can go scroll through 2019 and get pictures from 2019. They're still there.
Yeah. They're from like 2016, I think. There's some of them in there. It's like crazy.
Have we dug that deep before to find a good picture?
I have.
Maybe.
I have for sure. And then you kind of look and you're like, this person graduated like 3 years ago. So I don't think
Nah,
that'd be
man,
good.
I'll
to
just
use
get a
this.
picture of the back of his helmet. No one will know. Tools of the trade. Let's go over the volleyball and other things that are going to be happening tonight. We'll go to the daily scoreboard on YSN, and today is the 25th, so we'll hop on to the 25th. And actually, today's the 26th. My bad. Today's the 26th. So we'll hop on to the 26th. Canfield volleyball, they got the win in 4 sets in the last matchup. They'll be in a district semifinal against a very tough Notre Dame Cathedral Latin team.
Yeah, very, very tough NDCL team. I mean, that's a team that has definitely run away with a lot of district titles in the last couple of years.
NDCL has, in my opinion, the best volleyball player in the state of Ohio in Tara Vicious. She is a Nebraska volleyball commit. So if that tells you anything, if you know anything about college volleyball, you know Nebraska is a blue blood program. They're always contenders in the national championship talk. So when you have someone that's committed to there, that's the equivalent of like being a commit to Ohio State in football.
Yeah. No, we talked about it last Wednesday. That definitely going to be a tough match for sure, but I think they got a chance.
Canfield has one thing they really do well is defense.
Yes.
They have Alana Lawson back there digging up balls. Maddie Cleveley does a really good job digging when she's in the back row. Parker Wilkins, obviously the libero that leads them in digs. They have 2 players with more than 300 digs in the season. Parker, one of them, and then Maddie Cleveley also has more than 300 digs as well.
That's what makes this group special for Canfield is their defense. I've seen them a time or two, of course, and they've got some good swingers. Don't get me wrong there. Abby McElroy in the middle, very difficult to block. Isabella Bucciarelli on the outside, but they pride themselves on defense, and that's how they win the majority of their matches.
And none of these hitters are putting up numbers that like blow you away. In fact, I think going into the tournament, no one had more than 200 kills, but you have 4 or 5 players that have 100 or more because they're so well balanced. Abby McElroy leads them, but barely. Maddie Cleveley put together a lot of kills as well on the outside. You brought up Bucciarelli. Slavin hits when she's not setting. So you have a lot of balance in this Canfield offense. It's going to be interesting to see balance of Canfield going up against a one-hitter heavy NDCL team.
Yep.
Obviously, they're going to set Tara Vicious a whole lot.
That's why I like their chances because they could key in on one player and shut her down.
And McElroy has really gotten better as a blocker this year. Blocking this year for about McElroy. She dominates the net when she's in the front row. I've been really impressed because coming into this season, there was a lot of pressure on Abby to be the next offensive star. You lose Abby Householder, and I think a lot of people, whether it was deserved or not, kind of looked right at Abby McElroy and said, okay, you're next up. You're going to be our offensive leader. And she's done that.
Yes.
And more. So congratulations to her. And good luck to Canfield as they go on to play Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. I just looked at the clock and, this still got away from us. We got some time. Let's get through these rest matchups. Girard will play Aurora tonight. That's a sneaky good matchup. The top-seeded Girard Indians looking to punch a ticket to the district championship in the Jefferson bracket of Division II. Garrettsville Garfield has a rematch with Berkshire. Berkshire got them in 5 sets earlier in the season in Garfield. This one on a neutral site. Middle Ridge plays Kirtland. This is a matchup between 2 state-ranked teams going into the tournament. Middle Ridge ranked 16th, Kirtland ranked 13th. That should be a good one. They will be following the matchup in Orwell, Grand Valley, Crestview versus Lakeview. This is 8 in the state versus 9 in the state. So you have 4 state-ranked teams in one place tonight in Grand Valley. That should be a lot of fun. Crestview, Lakeview at 6. And then Kirtland Middle Ridge at 7:30 roughly. West Branch will play Jefferson. We talked about that game at length. And then South Range has a matchup with the top team in the state, Minter Lake Catholic on the volleyball side. Just one girls playoff soccer game tonight. Beaver Local takes on New Philadelphia. One boys playoff soccer game tonight as Louisville takes on Massillon Jackson.
Do we mention Berkshire and Garfield?
Yep, rematch of a game that went 5 sets earlier in the season. Berkshire got that win earlier in the season over Garfield in Garrettsville in 5 sets. So Garrettsville has a little bit of revenge on the mind. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. Thank you so much for tuning in. Gary for stopping by a little bit. I want to thank McKaylin Fitz for her time as we featured an interview with her. Tomorrow on the show, we have a lot to look forward to. We have going to have an interview with Ariana Daniels to be played. We're going to, from Poland Girls Soccer, we're going to have an interview with Gianna Constantino from McDonald Volleyball to play. We're also going to have a live interview with Maddie Melito from Girard Volleyball as well. A lot to look forward to tomorrow with me and DJ. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and have a good night. Casual Sports next from 2 to 3, Power Hour from 3 to 4 on Running Point. You have Coco's Pizza tonight as well, Gary. Richie, calling you Gary. I am going way too fast. We're going to get out of here. A lot to look forward to. Thank you so much for tuning in to Running Point. Brought to you by